What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today I'm coming in with a classic video. It's a bit different than a story. I'm talking about how to hide your weed. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because I get this question all the time. People always ask in the comments, Goblin, how do you hide weed? How do you hide X drug? So this is my in-depth, somewhat comprehensive-ish guide on how to store your weed, whether you are in a dorm room or you're living with parents or you just have to hide it for some reason. You just don't want your house to smell. Either way, this should hopefully help you out. And the things I'm not going to be talking about in this video are typical methods like mason jars and pill bottles. Everyone fucking knows those. Everybody's heard those. They work, but I don't like them very much. And I have my own little methods I've handcrafted that I'm going to share. So hope you guys enjoy it. Drop a like if you do. Also, I apologize for not uploading super actively, but I've been working on videos the past couple days, and daily uploads, boys, are back. Starting today, we're going nuts. We're bussing. Shots everywhere. I'm just shooting up the sub box. Bullet holes everywhere. Duck and cover. It's a terrorist attack. It's out of hand. But either way, let's dive into it. So, how to hide your weed. Now, the first thing I want to cover is the most important thing about hiding your weed is the smell. I mean, hands down, with stuff like pills or acid, it's incredibly easy to hide because it doesn't really have a scent. You can just kind of stash it somewhere out of sight, and for the most part, you're good. Weed is a lot different because One thing that makes it very, very difficult to gauge how well you've hidden your weed is, as someone who smokes a lot of weed, your nose is not as sensitive to the smell. For someone like a parent of yours or someone coming into your house or wherever you're storing your drugs that doesn't smoke weed, it is incredibly strong. Even the smallest bit of weed, the smell is incredibly strong. And it blew my mind, after I stopped smoking and I took the break, because of probation, over time, my nose started becoming more sensitive to the smell of weed. And let me tell you guys, it's fucking strong. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if you guys heard that. There's like a scratching sound. My fucking dog is going wild upstairs, but it's fucking strong. Like, even the smallest bit of weed, if somebody smoked a blunt and were to wash their hands and, spray some cologne on and go into a store to work, I would still smell it. I would always smell when someone was smoking, when somebody had weed on them. Smell is very, very important to mask. And depending on quantity, what I found to actually be one of not only the most convenient and easiest to get ways to hide weed, but also one of the most smell proof is a Gatorade bottle, and it's a little bit of a pain in the ass. If you have larger quantities of weed, don't do this. It's going to be a fucking bitch. But what I would do is I would empty out my Gatorade bottle. I'd wash it out, clean it out, make sure it was completely dry inside. I would keep my weed inside a little plastic baggie in the bottle just in case there was any little bits of water or Gatorade down there. I would still keep it in a closed bag, and I just slide it through the top. And if I had a lot, there was a time where I fit I think it was 6 or 7 grams in a regular size Gatorade bottle. And, all I really had to do is I didn't cut it open and do any crazy shit because the cap seals it really fucking tight. Smell's not getting out. No matter how good your weed is, smell's not getting out, So all I did was I just unscrewed the cap. I kind of tried to push all my nugs of weed in a straight line and just slowly push them through a conveyor belt almost, just nug by nug until it was all in there. And then when you want to pull it back out, all you have to do is just, if the bag is too low down there, if it's a smaller amount where you can't reach it by just sticking a couple fingers in, since you already cleared out the bottle of all the Gatorade, just turn it over and the bag will plop right down and then you can just yank it out. It's pretty easy. And it's convenient as fuck. It is an amazing way to store weed. If you have small quantities, that is, it is an amazing fucking way to store weed. Now, for bigger quantities of weed, I'm talking probably ounces and up, maybe even half ounces and up, depending. I mean, I gave the Gatorade bottle example, but a lot of other bottles similar to that would probably work. For example, I don't know about a water bottle, but like Gatorade bottles just have really thick material. Like they're sturdy, you know, they're just strong. Like I don't know how to put it. It's kind of weird. Like they just don't emit any fucking smell, you know? So a bottle similar to that, like a Powerade bottle, would probably work just fine as well, you know? For larger quantities of weed, you know, half ounce, ounce, QP, HP, whatever the fuck you're trying to store, there's not as many options, you know? Reason being, that shit's gonna fucking stink. That shit's gonna stink. You know, like if you have a large quantity of good quality weed, especially like QP and up, it is incredibly difficult to hide. You know, if you have an ounce, half ounce, it's not too bad, you know. And one thing that I want to say to never do is a lot of people that I know, and I've even done this myself, think if they just put layers of plastic bags over the bag of weed, like they just put that bag into like 4 more bags, it's fine. Truth be told, that doesn't fucking work. That's not how it works. It's not happening. That's barely doing anything. You might as well just leave all the weed out on the counter, and whenever someone comes who's going to have a problem with it, just hand some to them. Just be like, here, yeah, I got weed. Here, I got a lot more. You know, there's no fucking point. But one thing that I found actually worked when I would have larger quantities of weed, and this is kind of a very situational one, or a very like circumstantial like way to store it and hide it, I guess, is I would always put it in my old computer tower. You know, what I would always do is I'd unscrew my old computer tower. I still had it, and it wasn't like a see-through one. It was just like a completely solid colored one. And I would unscrew it, and instead of having, you know, the motherboard in there and all that, like I would still have some parts just kind of hanging out in there. I would tape the, you know, whatever quantity I had that I could fit in there to the part, like the door, whatever you want to call it, the side of it I was unscrewing and pulling off. I would tape it to there and then close it again, you know? And it doesn't sound like it would work very well, and I guess it could have been very circumstantial. Maybe it was just my tower that for some ungodly reason sealed smell really well, but it worked. You know, it did work. I didn't really smell it. I never had many people say anything about it unless they like literally were smelling the fucking outside of the tower. Then like, yeah. But I never really got any concerns on it from my parents or anything. You know, my main experience with this is trying to hide it from my parents. You know, that's how I feel I'm able to give some good advice on this. But another way to do it, and this is a pretty generic one, you know, but it's kind of a given. When you have large quantities, vacuum seal your shit. Not once, twice, sometimes 3 times. It depends. Vacuum seal the fuck out of it. I'm telling you guys right now, buying a vacuum sealer, if you are buying large quantities of weed, is an ungodly gift. It is a lifesaver. It is so worth every fucking penny you spend, because when you're driving down the street and you're going to serve a QP to like Jimmy John, and Jimmy John's fucking waiting on you, he's hitting your line, he's saying, hurry the fuck up, I need it now, I really need this QP, I'll overpay, and you're whipping it down the street, and all of a sudden fucking, I don't know, Officer Owen sees you flying down the street going 20 over and pulls you over, and your shit's not vacuum sealed, you just got this QP in like a Ziploc in your backpack, you're going to fucking jail. You know, you're fucked. You're going to jail. If it's vacuum sealed, you put it in your trunk, you store it in a safe place somewhere, whether it's your house or in your car, wherever you need to store it. If you vacuum sealed it enough and you vacuum sealed it effectively, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You know, granted, it's a pain in the ass because every time you bust open the bag, you then have to re-vacuum seal all the weed, but it's worth it. It's worth the precaution. I mean, think of it this way. Would you rather take a couple extra steps to make sure you keep your weed, I can't fucking talk, or would you rather lose it? You know, would you rather lose all of it and get fucked? You know, potentially legal trouble, home trouble if you're like I was trying to hide it from my parents. If, you know, a lot of different outcomes that could go very poorly if you don't take the proper precautions. You know, another interesting method that I found that actually worked as well for storing, you know, mainly small amounts of weed, but I guess larger ones could work as well, kind of, is I used to have these little alcohol wipes, right? And you guys know those little like wet wipes, you know, the hand wipes, but they were really fucking strong. Like these were like wet wipes on steroids. Like these were some jacked ass fucking wet wipes. And what I would do is I would have my weed bagged up, And I would take the wet wipes and I'd just take like a good little bit of them and just wrap them around the weed, just like completely encase it, almost like a little fucking nugget, like a little ball, and just encase that shit in there. And this is such a fucking ghetto way to do it. And then, even though it was wet, I would like cut off a little strip of like duct tape and tape the little, how do I, like the seam, or like tape the two pieces of, or the pieces of wet wipe or whatever, the alcohol wipes together, so it sealed it, it enclosed it. And what that did is, even though if someone saw that, they would very obviously know it was drugs, hiding it from sight is not nearly as big of a challenge as hiding it from being smelled. And I'd much rather be covered on the smell component than the sight component, because it doesn't fucking matter how good I hide it away from sight if it reeks, that's the most important thing. So I would do that. And what would happen was, whenever you'd smell it, even when I was really up close to it, it just smelled like alcohol, and if the wipes dried out, just redo it. Just take off the tape, throw away all the old shit you had around it, and just redo it. I'd only have to redo it like maybe every day or two, and it sounds like a lot, but it's fucking worth it. It's truly worth it, Another way that, this is more so not hiding your weed directly, but hiding the fact that you smoked weed. If you're coming home, to your parents or to whatever, your parents are coming home soon and you need a good way to mask the scent of, a blunt, for example. A blunt is the stinkiest way to smoke your fucking weed. I'll tell you right now. It truly is. And if your hands just reek of a fucking blunt, one thing that I used to do, and it works pretty well. It can work with cigarettes too. It's not like foolproof, but it works pretty fucking well. I've gotten away with it every time I've done it. Is I would take a really small amount of vape juice. This is also circumstantial. If you guys are vapors out there, then this could help you. Take a really small amount of vape juice. Like, I'm talking, don't even drip any of it on your hand, like from your dripper or whatever. Just literally pull out the cap part with the, I always forget what it's called, the fucking dripper, the squeezer, whatever, that squeezes up the juice. And literally just run your finger along the side of it, because it's already been encased in juice. It's going to be covered in it. Literally just like poke it and drag your finger down a little bit. Not for the whole thing, just a little bit down the side. And then just rub it into your hands like lotion. Just that simple. Vape juice, it smells strong. It tastes strong. It's just strong in general. It smells really fucking strong. And it masks the smell of weed pretty fucking well. From my experience. And sometimes for extra precaution, what I would do is after that, I would kind of wash my hands. And the shitty part about it as well is, vape juice is just a fucking gross consistency, and it kind of makes your hands like greasy almost. For those of you guys who do vape, you probably know what I'm talking about. But it's a worthy trade-off, in my opinion. It's a worthy trade-off. I'd rather have like slightly oily vape juice hands than have my parents beat my ass for smoking. That's my opinion. And another way that can potentially be good, the final way I'm going to be sharing with you guys that could potentially be good to hide your weed is, now this one's fucking risky. I'm going to be very upfront with it, be very clear. This is risky. Don't do this. This is actually kind of a two, like, it's like two ideas combined into one. And personally, I've never done either of these, but I know people who do each of these and they've been okay. So don't take my word for this. This is iffy, but it's up to you. If you're 18, get a storage unit, and I'm not talking like get a big fucking storage unit, just slam your weed in there. Who cares if it smells? No, I'm saying get a small storage unit, preferably like a mom and pop kind of storage place, like not the U-Haul storage facility, just some smaller place, and get your unit, pay your stuff on time, put other things in the unit that look legitimate. And this only really makes sense if you have a large amount. Like if you're a dealer, or if you have like, pounds, half pounds even, then yeah, this makes sense. But, all you got to do is just rent out the unit, put some normal shit in there, like get cardboard boxes, buy like junk magazines on eBay. You can get a fuck ton of just garbage on eBay for piss cheap. Just fill up boxes with junk. Just make it look like it's literally your place to go put your junk from your house. And then just in one of those boxes, just put the weed in there, tucked below some more junk. And just always pay your bills on time. Be friendly with the boys. And this is stuff I've heard from a buddy of mine who does this. So this isn't directly, like, this is my advice as well, but this is also what I've heard from a friend who does this. But if you do all this, you should be okay. You know, and also, alternatively, I had another buddy who did this, and this is risky. Personally, I don't recommend this particularly, but some people, this could work depending on where you live. I had a friend who would store his stuff outside. He would just straight up store it outside. You know, there was a little pine tree that was like in between his backyard and like a couple of his neighbors' backyards. And in the mulch of the pine tree, he would just dig a little bit and stash his stuff down there and then just cover it up and leave. You know, and he would always remember where it was. He would always come back to it. I don't even think he had a marking for the spot. He just knew in his head exactly where it was, you know? And storing it outside is really fucking iffy. I mean, personally, I've never done it. I never will. You know, I think it's pretty dumb, but it can also, in very, very circumstantial situations, come in clutch as fuck. You know, for example, if your parents just start searching your shit, start running your shit, your weed's not in the house. Who gives a fuck? Let them search. And then after they search and find nothing, maybe they'll even trust you. Maybe they'll even say, oh, maybe he wasn't smoking or whatever, you know? Or, you know, if like the cops come and raid your house for some ungodly reason and your weed's stored outside of the house, they're not going to find your weed. It's outside of the house. They're not fucking digging in your backyard for corpses unless you have a pending murder case. Then maybe they are. But if you do, you probably shouldn't be watching this video right now. But, you know, for the most part, it can come in clutch. It's just also very, very fucking risky. Because if you let slip and let a lot of people know about it, really anybody else, that shit can get stolen. As well as just the off chance that it gets stolen. You know, someone sees you doing it and goes and looks and finds it, or vice versa, something like that. But either way, that's all the suggestions and tips I have for you guys on how to hide your weed. I tried to be as unorthodox as possible with this. I didn't want to cover generic methods, so if this sounded retarded or didn't help you, I apologize, but hey, I mean, some of it is what I did, especially the Gatorade bottle thing. I'm telling you guys, that shit is fucking killer. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Drop a like if you did. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.